We shall ensure that this will be a venue to tackle the various important issues surrounding the subject, proposed measure, and the matters that need further clarification. We will not rush. We will take our time in order to arrive at the best version possible for the benefit of the Filipino people.
Panawagan ko sa gobyerno at administrasyon, pag-aralan naman sana muna ng husto. Napakarami pang kailangan ipaliwanag bago ito lubusang maipasa.
From the nation's capital, all sides, all the time, I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. The big story tonight.
Newly installed Social Welfare Chief Rex Gatchalian began work at the department today. In his first day in office, Gatchalian said he was given marching orders by the president to improve disaster relief response. The former Valenzuela City Congressman said he plans to put up more logistics facilities across the country to ensure timely distribution of relief assistance. Gatchalian also wants to push through with plans to digitize the distribution of financial aid to beneficiaries. He also lauded the program started by his predecessor, Erwin Tulfo, who had been bypassed by the Commission on Appointments over issues about citizenship, among others. Here to talk to us about his new position at the DSWD, we have Secretary Rex Gatchalian over Zoom. Congratulations, Secretary. Welcome to the big story.
Hi, Robbie. Hi, Gretchen. Thank you for having me. Good evening to your televiewers and those listening over different platforms.
And Secretary, of course, we want to talk about your plans and your intentions. But before all of that, nagulat po ba kayo? When did the President talk to you about this and how did this come to be?
Well, Robbie, the short and fast of it is well-meaning people spoke to me last December saying that they will want to recommend me for the position. At that time, I just said, yes, if I can help the country, why not? So third-party individuals put me in that list for consideration. Then I got a call yesterday from the palace to come over and so that we can talk about vision, directions. And there was a meeting of the mind. And the president said that they've been vetting the candidates in the list for, I think, over you can digitalize things, you have to streamline procedures. You have to streamline requirements. Do away with redundant steps. Do away with redundant requirements. And Secretary Tulfo started that already. Siya nga yung gawa na huwag natin paulit-ulit na hinihingi ang mga requirement na hindi naman kailangan o paulit-ulit ng ilang kopya. So he already started that. In fact, tomorrow I'm meeting the team in DSWD and they will give me a bird's eye view or a detailed perception of where that streamlining took place. So we will just continue the streamlining of procedures, steps, reduce the requirements, then we can digitalize that. But case in point, the harder heavy lift will be in the database management. We know that data is there. Meron kang data from DSA, you have DSWD has data. But I was a city mayor when I saw how difficult it is that we were ranked during the COVID lockdowns when we were giving the SAP or the social amelioration. Nakita natin kung paano iba-iba yung point of views kung ano ang definition kung sino dapat ang qualified. So I think the devil will be in the details and the devil lies in the data. We have to make sure that we clean up the database and we have to make sure that we're talking from the same point of view para alam natin sino ba talaga ang poorest of the poor and near poor para alam natin sino hinahabol talaga natin. So it's a three-step approach: streamlining, fixing the database, and then digitalizing.
Sir, just to be clear about that and to be explicit about that, streamlining, you're saying you will continue the effort and the initiative of former Secretary Tulfo, particularly in the purging of the list of 4Ps beneficiaries.
Yes. Dalawa yan. You pointed out two very neat things. One, streamlining. Ang streamlining is reducing unnecessary steps or redundant requirements. He already started that. Like I said, we have to give credit where credit is due. And I'm a big fan of whoever has the audacity or the guts to remove unnecessary steps. Tayo kasi sometimes sa gobyerno na-realize ko, dahil nakikagisnan na or we're so used to doing certain things, we let it be. Pero si Secretary Tulfo started untangling that. So the streamlining process is already in place or we just need to fine-tune and continue it. Then the cleaning of the database. He already did portions of the heavy lifting. To what extent, I beg your indulgence kasi tomorrow ko palang uupuan with the USEX. Today was my first day on the job. So tomorrow I'll get a detailed orientation on how far the cleaning of the database is. But you're talking about the 4-piece database, but iba-ibang database. The 4-piece database is the poorest of the poor. But remember, during the social amelioration time, we were also talking about poor or near poor. We have to start talking to PSA, NEDA, and the other data collecting agencies and compare notes, as well as CBMS, the private sector. It's time that data should be synchronized. Robbie, Gretchen, one thing that I want to point out though is, yes, I pointed out multiple agencies na may sarili-sariling data, but it may take time. That's why I want to build capacity in our own department to be able to understand data. We're trying to lure more data-driven professionals inside the organization so that they can help us make sense of the data that we have. Madalas kasi we collect data but we're not using it properly, we're not analyzing it properly. We are fans of filling out forms pero natutulog yung data. The data's there, we just need to mine it, analyze it, and use it properly.
Well, Secretary, we know that upon your appointment, you're also leaving your position as a congressman for Valenzuela. What made you decide to move on to the DSWD?
Not because I'm leaving does it mean that the Congressional District's office will stop dispensing with services. The funds allocated for the 1st Congressional District are not my funds, it's their funds. So kahit wala ako dyan, it will run and it has been running the whole day today. Yung mga district offices namin, the services continue. Valenzuelanos will always still get what's rightfully theirs from the national government to our district offices. Now, what happens next? The speaker had already spoken this morning that a caretaker will be appointed at the soonest possible time to fill in the gap. The caretaker will be the new administrative head supervising the district offices and the district projects from the national government. So at the soonest possible time, somebody will be appointed as caretaker by the House of Representatives. The Speaker did consult me and the political party that I belong to. We did give him names. So I'm sure he will be choosing and vetting those names and be appointing the caretaker at the soonest possible time. Now, whether or not there will be elections, I think let's just focus first on the gap. Kasi that will, we don't want to be talking politics when there's anxiety or some anxiety from our constituents kung ano mangyayari sa distrito. I think let's put in the caretaker first. Let's make the constituents understand that nothing will be hampered. Then we can talk politics again. I think now is the time to work, both in the district, whoever the caretaker will be, and in DSWD. And I will, not because I'm moving to DSWD does it mean that I'm going to stop working for the Valenzuelanos or the people of Valenzuela, except that they are still part of the general population. This time I'll just be working for more people, but they're part of that universal.
Okay, Secretary Gatchalian, maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you.
A five-man committee that is set to review the courtesy resignations of PNP senior officials has been named for the Interior Department. Maricel Halili with the details.
A day after the ultimatum given to generals and colonels to submit a courtesy resignation for PNP's internal cleansing, Interior Secretary Benher Abalos-Baer, the members of the five-man advisory group that will investigate police involvement in illegal drugs. Abalos said those will make up the five-man committee are Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong, PNP Chief Police General Rodolfo Azurin Jr., former Defense Chief Gilbert Chodoro, and retired Major General Isagani Neres, who is currently Undersecretary at the Office of the Presidential Advisor on Military Affairs. The fifth member of the advisory body requested that his identity not be made public.
I am definite that this advisory group shall remain apolitical throughout the process of screening and in the end penalize only those guilty and involved in the illegal drugs trade.
Since Azurin is part of the advisory group, this means his courtesy resignation was not accepted. According to Abalos, the PNP chief can greatly contribute to the investigation because he knows the organization from top to bottom. Abalos reported that out of the 955 PNP officers, that includes full colonels and generals, 12 did not submit their courtesy resignations. Of the 12, 5 have retired and 6 are retiring, leaving only 1 officer who did not heed the call.
We fully respect his right. As I've told you before, we are not ordering or commanding anyone. It was just an appeal. I would like to reiterate, it's an appeal. No sanctions will be done, nothing at all. But syempre, aalamin namin bakit. No? Bakit ayaw niya?
Abalos added that there is no form of punishment should one decide not to submit their courtesy resignation. However, they will still not be exempted from the investigation.
Even without this call for resignation of the generals and colonels, there will always be continuous monitoring about drugs, continuous build-up of cases. Importante yan, up to the lowest rank.
The advisory group is set to examine each of the courtesy resignation submissions. They will carefully consider whose resignation should be accepted and who should remain in the PNP. After going through the advisory group, it will be elevated to the National Police Commission for further investigation. The advisory body is expected to complete its review within 3 months. For News 5, Maricel Halili, We Are One News.
Former President Duterte reiterates that he is ready to go to prison over his administration's drug war, but maintains that it's wrong for the International Criminal Court to conduct the investigation. In an interview on SMNI, Duterte said he carried out his campaign against illegal drugs as a matter of principle. He believes there's nothing wrong for a head of state to threaten to kill criminals who are, quote, destroying the country. Though he is ready to go to prison for it, the former president says the ICC should not be conducting a probe into the drug war without permission from the government. He also described the ICC's investigation as an insult to the country.
Since when was it a crime for a sovereign head of state? Since when was it a crime for me to threaten criminals? Sinabi mo, if you destroy my country, I will kill you. Is there a law against a president uttering such hostile words? It was an all-out, sabi ko, all-out war. If it resulted in the killing, well, I'm sorry, but that is how the game is played.
Meanwhile, a magnitude 6.1 quake jolts Davao del Sur earlier this evening, according to data from PHIVOLCS. The center of the earthquake was located in New Bataan at around 6:44 p.m. Intensity 4 was reported in DAP right after the break. Senators begin discussing in detail the controversial Maharlika Investment Fund. We'll get some updates on what went on in the hearing. When the big story returns, keep it here on One News. Watching the big story here on One News.
The Senate kicked off debates on the controversial Maharlika Investment Fund.
Though it's just the first hearing, it looks like senators are ready or already considering a version that could be entirely different from the one passed by the lower house. Camille Samonte has the big story.
We will not rush. We will take our time in order to arrive at the best version possible for the benefit of the Filipino people.
That's the promise that Senator Mark Villar made as the upper chamber tackles the proposed Maharlika Investment Fund bill. The proposal was filed by Villar, who is also the chairman of the Committee on Bank, Financial Institutions and Currencies. On Wednesday, senators took turns in examining the bill. They were briefed by economic managers who presented the objective and benefits of the MIF. With the fund, National Treasurer Rosalia De Leon believes the debt of the country will decrease.
Instead of the national government borrowing for these infrastructure projects, there can already be some take-up by the fund or some other private ventures would also be co-investing in the fund.
Senator Risa Hontiveros, however, warned that the MIF may become a liability since no new source of funds have been identified. Hontiveros also questioned the weak penal provisions of the bill. Under the proposal, members of the MIF Board of Directors involved in corruption will only fine as low as 500,000 to 1 million pesos.
Ridiculously napakababa considering na yung Maharlika Investment Fund mag-handle ng billions of pesos. Ni walang forfeiture ng ill-gotten wealth in favor of government. Walang perpetual disqualification from public office for offenses committed by government officials.
But Finance Secretary Benjamin Jokno said the penal provision can still be amended by the Congress. Senator Sonny Angara meanwhile inquired on accountability in case of loss of investment. Jokno said it is difficult to impose penalty on board members over this, as the fund's performance will depend on economic factors.
Meron pong cap na 2% sa administrative expense, 2% of the fund. Okay, so you cannot go beyond that. Okay. So you cannot misuse the fund unnecessarily.
But what about, how about for wrong decisions in instance ways or decisions which resulted in losses?
Yung losses po, mahirap pong bigyan ng, kasi depende rin po ang performance ng fund sa economic cycle eh. So mahirap pong sabihin na during bad times, ipoprosecute po natin.
Senators also questioned the composition of the 15-member board of directors and possible tax exemptions.
Sila nga 5 individuals lang ang board nila. Kailangan ba talaga ng board ng 15 members?
The original executive department's proposal was 7. So yung House po ang nagdagdag to 15. So again, that is subject to your discussion. Kayo po magdidesisyon.
Senator Chis Escudero meanwhile grilled economic managers on the impact of a looming global recession on the fund.
Yes, ma'am, but globally nga, we will be affected by the recession because in a recession, ika nga, kung may bloodbath sa stocks, now is the time to buy. Why not? Now is a good time to invest. But my question, ma'am, is when will we reap the benefits?
Escudero pointed out that there are still too many loopholes in the bill and that it is not well studied. There is a big possibility that the Senate will come up with a version of the MIF different from the House's.
Hindi ako tutol sa pagtatayo ng isang sovereign fund. Pero ang panawagan ko sa gobyerno at administrasyon, pag-aralan naman sana muna ng husto. Mga 2 buwan na itong dumadaan sa proseso pero napakarami pa ring butas.
For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
The big story will return. Keep it here on One News.
You're still watching The Big Story here on One News.
In another Senate hearing, Senator Raffy Tulfo questioned the merits of Emmanuel Ledesma Jr. as the new acting president of PhilHealth after the latter said he sees no corruption in the agency. At the Senate Committee on Health and Demography inquiry earlier today, Senator Tulfo asked Ledesma to clean the agency and remove its corrupt personnel. The acting PhilHealth chief, however, appealed to the committee to give him a, quote, honeymoon period to do so. Ledesma likewise said he did his own research on the issue, but admitted that he does not want to falsely accuse anybody until there is hard evidence to prove corruption claims. Tulfo said he was offended by the remarks given the numerous investigations into the alleged corruption involving the State Health Insurers Fund.
I have been actively looking since I had joined, although I'm very new, no? So far po, to be honest, wala po akong nakikita.
Wala po kayo nakikita ng corruption sa PhilHealth?
As in our previous, as far as from ganito po, I have joined less than 2 months.
I know, sir, pero wait a minute. I'm offended. Even the taong bayan are offended. Kung sabihin niyo po, samantalang deklarado na po yan, nag-hearing na yan dito, at marami ng mga ebidensya na papakita na may mga bogus claims na ipa-file ng mga doktor at hospital, and then sabi mo, wala ka pang nakikita. You're making stupid out of us.
We always see signs in public places reminding us to take care of our belongings or not to leave them unattended. Well, case in point, authorities have arrested in separate operations 4 suspects involved in a robbery at the USC hospital back in January. CCTV footage showed a suspect stealing gadgets from the hospital on January 17 and again last Saturday. Now, among those stolen by the suspects were at least 2 cell phones belonging to a patient and 2 other phones and a laptop that belonged to a doctor. The doctor said he also lost some 46,000 pesos from his e-wallet. Authorities were able to arrest the 4 suspects, 2 of whom were cell phone technicians, while 1 was a supposed hacker. They're now facing charges for theft and illegal access of devices. The doctor has also called for the management of the UST hospital to tighten their security.
Baka may lapses lang. Pero when I reported it, they told me naman na they'll do something about it. May mga important files kasi doon na it could be for the patients. That's why I tried hard to get my phone back kasi kawawa yung mga pasyente na hindi makapag-follow up.
And before we go, just as we announced last week, the Light Rail Transit Authority opens its train doors to pets today. But not all pets, of course. According to the official announcement, only small dogs and cats will be allowed to ride the LRT2 trains. All pets must be in 2 feet by 2 feet carriers. Owners will also have to present valid and updated pet vaccine cards. Now, for those wondering, rides for pets will be free of charge. Nasagot na yung tanong ko. Hindi pwedeng ahas.
So 2 by 2. 2 by 2, di ba? At saka, ewan ko, napansin ko doon, naka-diapers yung mga pets. Is that a requirement?
Yes.
Okay.
Diapers and fully vaccinated.
And in any case, gaya ng sinabi natin dati, this is a start. We know a lot of people are happy about this, and LRT will continue to hopefully progress with this project and this experiment.
And bring joy to a lot of people.
And that's the big story tonight. For more updates, follow News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. You may also log on to One News PH for more analysis. I'm Robbie Alampay.
The big story is also available via Signal Play app. Make a free account now at signalplay.com and stream One News anytime, anywhere. I'm Gretchen Ho. Stay safe, Philippines.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.